The Lord of Heroes guides Kael as Lyra, Riven, Seraphine, and Thorne prepare. Caelum moves in the shadows, plotting the hero's next trial. Subscribe to Turmoil Studio to continue the Eclipse Saga. The night after the Battle of the Valley hung heavy with smoke and silence. The fires from Selene's minions had burned deep into the soil, leaving trails of charred ash and broken stone. The air trembled with echoes of the day's fury. Yet within that silence, a new rhythm pulsed, measured, patient, ancient. Kael stood at the heart of the valley, his sword buried point down in the earth, its blue lightning dimmed to a faint glow. The young warrior's eyes were fixed on the horizon where shadows rippled across the dying light. Lyra approached quietly, her bow slung behind her, her footsteps light as drifting feathers. "You sense it too," she murmured. Kael nodded. "The storm hasn't passed. It's only waiting to return." From the eastern ridge, Riven appeared, cloak swaying with the cold wind. His expression was grave, his eyes carrying the fatigue of long calculation. The valley's silence isn't peace. It's the calm before command. As if to answer him, a golden beam descended from the clouds, cutting through the darkness like divine fire. The air vibrated. Dust lifted from the ground. Then he appeared. The Lord of Heroes emerged through the light. His armor shimmered with ancient sigils, gold and white, interwoven with the faint hue of fading suns. His gaze carried the weight of eternity and the warmth of purpose. "Children of valor," his voice echoed, neither thunder nor whisper, but something deeper felt rather than heard. "Your courage has drawn my sight." The eclipse stirs again, and the realm trembles in its shadow. Kael bowed instinctively. Lyra lowered her head. Even Riven, whose pride was as sharp as his intellect, dropped to one knee. Behind them, Seraphine approached, her luminous aura merging with the golden light. "My lord," she said softly, "the young ones fought bravely, but Selene's forces grow restless." Ignis senses movement beneath the northern ridge. "I know," the lord replied, his gaze drifting to the distant mountains. "And Caelum moves in silence. His trials will test what you have yet to learn." The mention of Caelum sent a ripple of unease through the group. The shadow strategist, known for bending wars through manipulation and deception, had vanished after the fall of the High Keep. His return could mean only one thing: the war of the Eclipsed Realms was about to begin anew. Riven crossed his arms. "So the shadows return. Then we'll meet them head-on." The Lord turned his gaze upon him. "You speak of confrontation, not understanding. Remember, Riven victory without wisdom is only another form of loss." Riven said nothing more, but his jaw tightened. Thorne and Ignis arrived then, their footsteps heavy upon the cracked stone. Ignis's aura burned like molten metal, pulsing with restrained fury. Thorne's dual swords gleamed with new etchings, tactical precision carved into their very steel. "The valley's secure," Thorne reported, but scouts found movement near the obsidian ravine. Tracks non-human. Ignis cracked his knuckles, embers scattering. "Then we burn them out before they breed more chaos." The Lord's hand lifted slightly. "No, this time, fire will not be your answer. You must learn restraint. The eclipse does not only test your might, but your unity." Ignis grunted but obeyed. The group stood in silence until the light dimmed and the Lord's presence began to fade. His voice lingered in the wind. "The King's call will sound before dawn. When it does, you must choose obedience to unity, or loyalty to pride." And with that, he vanished, leaving behind a faint ring of golden dust that settled over their armor. Dawn came not with peace, but with tremors. Far beyond the valley, in the hollow chambers of the Eclipse Citadel, shadows coiled like smoke. A lone figure stood before the black mirror Caelum, his eyes glinting with mirrored reflections of stars unseen. "The Lord gathers his heroes," a voice hissed from the dark. Caelum smiled faintly. "As expected." A deeper presence emerged Veynar, the fallen architect. His figure was tall, draped in serpentine tendrils of corrupted metal. "Your plan proceeds, then?" Caelum turned, his cloak brushing across the cold floor. "The heroes learn under his light, but they do not see the truth. The eclipse is not his design alone. It belongs to us all." Veynar's laugh was low, metallic. "And the girl? Lyra? She sees further than most, but even light needs darkness to reveal its shape." Behind them, shadows stirred again. A ripple in the mirror revealed Selene's form, her eyes sharp, her tone venomous. "You toy with balance, Caelum. I want vengeance, not philosophy." "You'll have both," Caelum replied. "But only when the King's Call breaks the veil." Selene's blades shimmered in the reflection. "Then I will answer the call in blood." Back in the valley, preparations began. Kael and Lyra trained under Riven's strict watch, practicing formations and countermeasures. Every strike, every dodge, was measured. Seraphine weaved barriers around them, her voice steady, her faith unbroken. Thorne charted their surroundings on a holographic map, tracing enemy movements like threads in a vast tapestry. Ignis stood apart, his fists burning as he tested control flames, dimming, then roaring, then dimming again. As dusk neared, a horn echoed across the horizon. Deep, resonant, ancient. The King's Call. Kael froze mid-swing. Lyra turned sharply toward the sound. Riven's eyes narrowed. "It begins," Thorne said. From every corner of the land, echoes responded: the mountains, the forests, even the distant ruins of the fallen citadel. Then the sky darkened. A shadow rippled across the sun, a thin line of darkness cutting through its heart. The eclipse returned. The battlefield formed naturally, neither chosen nor prepared. The valley's edges glowed faintly with residual energy from past wars. Lightning and flame danced across the clouds, reflections of the hero's internal struggle. Kael led the front, his blade pulsing with fire and lightning intertwined. Lyra flanked left, her arrows glowing with radiant trails. Riven's spell circles materialized midair, intricate geometric patterns of light and shadow. Seraphine took position behind them, summoning protective auras that rippled like liquid glass. Thorne stood beside her, coordinating positions, reading enemy patterns before they even emerged. Then, the darkness split open. Selene descended first, her blades glimmering with black flame. "We meet again, children of light," she hissed. Behind her, Caelum emerged from the fog, calm and deliberate. "The King's Call demands truth, not triumph. Let us see whose truth prevails." From the ridges above, Veynar's metallic tendrils pierced the earth, reshaping terrain into shifting platforms and traps. The ground pulsed, alive with corrupted energy, and from the sky itself descended Orion, silent and watchful. He landed between the armies, gaze fixed on both sides. "The Lord's test begins. Do not seek victory, seek understanding." No one listened. The valley exploded into motion. Kael charged, his sword blazing with dual energy. Selene met him head-on, blades shrieking as sparks burst between them. Lyra rolled into position, releasing a storm of arrows that curved through the air, finding weak spots in Selene's formation. Riven unleashed a wave of energy that collided with Veynar's metallic tendrils, the ground splitting under the force. Seraphine's shield shimmered, absorbing stray blasts and protecting the others. Ignis erupted forward, flames spiraling around him as he tackled a corrupted giant conjured by Caelum's will. Each punch cracked the air. Each roar sent shockwaves through the battlefield. Above them, the Lord of Heroes reappeared not to command, but to watch. His golden eyes reflected the chaos below, his expression unreadable. The heroes fought, not just enemies, but their own weaknesses. Kael's pride, Lyra's fear, Riven's doubt, Ignis's fury, Seraphine's mercy, Thorne's over-control. Every clash mirrored their inner battles. Selene struck at Kael, her movement a dance of precision. "You lead them, yet you do not trust them. she taunted. Kael deflected, sparks flying. "I trust them with my life." "Then let them lead without you," she screamed, driving him backward. Across the field, Riven countered Caelum's illusions, his spells flickering between control and chaos. "You hide behind riddles," he shouted. Caelum smiled faintly. "Because truth is not ready for you to wield." The ground erupted again. Veynar summoned obsidian pillars that encircled the valley, sealing it in a dome of black crystal. Lightning crackled against the barrier, refracting the light of fire and shadow. Orion stepped forward at last, his staff striking the ground. Enough. The energy froze midair, suspended like raindrops of light. The Lord's voice thundered through the stillness. "This is not your war. It is your reflection." Each hero felt the truth of it. Kael's sword dimmed. Lyra's arrows dissolved. Riven's magic stilled. Even Selene's blades faltered. "The eclipse rises," the Lord said, "and with it comes choice. You will either stand together or vanish as shadows devour your hearts." The battlefield shimmered, and then, like smoke, it vanished. They awoke in the valley once more, whole but shaken. The moonlight spilled across the terrain, serene once again. Kael looked at his companions. Lyra was kneeling beside Seraphine, who was healing Ignis's bruised arm. Thorne's maps were gone, replaced by a quiet awareness. Riven stood apart, staring at the stars. "The King's Call wasn't a battle," Lyra whispered. "No," Kael said softly. "It was a warning." Riven turned. "Then what now?" Kael lifted his gaze to the horizon, where dawn began to paint the world in gold. "Now, we learn what it truly means to lead." Above them, unseen by mortal eyes, the Lord of Heroes stood with Orion and Caelum, watching the dawn. "Did they pass?" Orion asked. Caelum's expression remained unreadable. "They endured. That is enough for now." The Lord's gaze softened. "Then, let the eclipse rise again when they are ready." The three vanished, leaving behind a whisper of light that fell upon the heroes below. Kael closed his eyes, feeling the warmth. The valley breathed again. The war was far from over, but the King's Call had been answered.